Beyond the Game is my overall project, but today I'm going to mainly be focusing on the paper I did for it. And this paper is on the neurological impact of religion and spirituality on the brain. It's called Religion on the Brain, a look into the neurological impact of religion and spirituality. So today I will be going over the different parts of my paper, starting off with the aim and then ending off with a conclusion. So I pursue this paper in hopes of discovering the impact of beliefs on the brain. Beliefs are a significant part of our identity. One might even argue that they are the core of who we are. As a result, they shape our social interactions and influence our mental health. In this paper, I look into the neurotheological studies that reveal distinct neurocorrelates associated with religious experiences. The data will reveal the significant psychological benefits of religion and spirituality, and I will refer to religion and spirituality as RS throughout the presentation. First, we're going to go into the field of study of neurotheology. You've probably heard of neuroscience, but not neurotheology. This is because neurotheology is a fairly emerging field of study that researches the relationship between neurology and religion. However, it is not well known because researchers approach it hesitantly due to the complexity of beliefs. This is because beliefs exist within a broader network, and due to their intertwined nature, it is difficult to isolate them into discrete forms to study them fully. However, this field should be pursued due to the sheer significance of beliefs in shaping our identities. And in general, neurotheology is a combination of various fields, including neuroscience, neurobiology, psychiatry, and more. Now I'm going to go over the kind of cyclical nature of the formation of beliefs. It all starts with a trigger. At this time, the brain will take note of a sensory experience, and this can be a particularly significant experience or just any experience that holds weight. It is also important to note that many beliefs do not need a huge event to develop and are often shaped by accepting socially agreed upon values. It is also difficult to find the many ways beliefs are developed, but an impactful experience in society's influence are two of the more overarching methods. The second stage follows with the brain determining what to do with the information gathered from the trigger. This stage relies greatly upon pre-existing beliefs and the necessary context for the situation. Therefore, the proto-beliefs that are being processed are idiosyncratic and unique to the subject's character and experiences. This stage often reinforces a pre-existing belief with new information, as humans are not wired to enjoy change. This is why people are so susceptible to information that aligns with their beliefs and vice versa. The third stage is where the brain finally evaluates these proto-beliefs. This is the stage where the brain decides whether the proto-belief will be established by evaluating its consistency with pre-existing beliefs. Beliefs that do not align with inherent beliefs will be examined more intensely than aligning proto-beliefs, and many of them will not become established to avoid dissonance. The fourth stage is when the beliefs that pass the evaluation are accepted. The accepted belief is placed within a network of similar beliefs that are part of an interrelated network that builds up the subject's belief system. Because of this system, most beliefs will remain, as I said, relatively consistent, but some beliefs will stagger in conviction and relevance over time due to circumstances and various contexts. Finally, the fifth stage lies in the effects of the belief. Beliefs are, as I've said many times, an inherent part of who we are. They dictate our actions and choices in our daily lives, typically without immediate questioning or reflection. They shape our understanding of the world and influence how we process information. Specifically, they affect lower level cognitive processes like attention and perception. They guide how we interpret sensory data, especially when it's ambiguous, aligning our perceptions with our existing beliefs. The developed belief now becomes part of the intertwined belief system that analyzes the uniformity of proto-beliefs, and we go all the way back to the trigger now. This is just a visualization of the cyclical nature of the formation of beliefs. One way I like to visualize the belief system is, if you've watched it, the idea of a sense of self in Inside Out 2. Riley, the main character, has a sense of self that is displayed through a tree, as seen on the left. These are made up of intertwining threads, and these threads are different experiences that reinforces her sense of self. For example, one scene where she helps a friend out reinforces her belief that she's a good friend and a good person, and all these experiences and convictions, they come together to define Riley's sense of self. And this idea is essentially the idea that is relayed through the formation of the belief process. I thought it was just a good visual. Now I will go into specifically the impact of religion on the brain. We will be looking at religion specifically as a form of belief, and in general, religion influences all our core values. For example, Christianity promotes good deeds and loving others, and Hinduism and Buddhism promote karmic values. In 2006, there was a specific study that was performed with 15 Carmelite nuns, and this study was a block study consisting of 3 blocks: the mystical block, where the subject recalled a spiritual experience, a control block, where the subjects recalled intense human interactions, and finally the baseline block, which was just their normal resting state. The studies utilized fMRI techniques to observe which loci in the brain were significantly activated during these blocks, and the results demonstrate how distinct neural patterns indicate the brain's multidimensional response to spirituality. These findings, as we will see, indicate a strong association between mystical experiences and emotional well-being. It is also important to note that data is limited because the study is based on recollections of significant spiritual experiences. They're not actively experiencing them, and it is extremely difficult to manufacture authentic spiritual experiences. However, researchers have reason to believe that these recollections still provide strong evidence for the impact of RS on the brain. I'm not going to go over all of these, but these are some of the significant loci of activation in these different blocks. For example, in the first one, when they compared the mystical block to the baseline block and they saw which loci really stood out to them, you have the right medial occipital orbifrontal cortex, right medial temporal cortex, right inferior parietal lobe, and more. So these are the specific results of the study that came out of these fMRIs. The study results demonstrated distinction in the brain regions when the subjects recalled spiritual experiences compared to when they did not. So specifically, the right middle temporal activation during the mystical condition is associated with the feelings of contacting a spiritual reality, proving that they were, in fact, in true spiritual experience. Activations in the caudate left brainstem and left insular are related to feelings of joy and unconditional love, and the MOFC is believed to activate when a subject experiences pleasantness, implying that the recollections were pleasant. Seen from the results, many significant loci of activation while they were in spiritual religious experiences, they reflected positive feelings of love and joy. Therefore, it is reasonable to dive into the association between RS and mental health. Studies show that religious beliefs have been known to aid in coping with stress, death, anxiety, and more. Religious people also have a greater life satisfaction and a lower percentage of depression and anxiety. So much so that the risk of depression in an individual can decrease by up to 80% compared to individuals who are not religious or spiritual. These results are so significant that RS has been backed by researchers to be used in mental health treatments. Certain activities in the brain are responsible for these benefits. There are three separate ones. For example, first off, a person's RS value is often associated with increased cortical thickness in the parietal and occipital regions of the prefrontal cortex. The thickness is believed to allow for tougher resistance against the development of depression. Additionally, high RS importance is also related to decreased default mode network connectivity. For context, DMN connectivity is a collection of brain regions that are active when a person is not engaging with external stimuli, but is rather focused on internal processes. Finally, a high RS value is also associated with greater posterior dominant alpha rhythm during rest. A high PDR is associated with relaxation and a greater receptivity to treatment. However, it is also important to note that conflicting studies do exist regarding the inferior parietal lobe significance. Some believe increased activation is associated with intense RS, while others believe it is the other way around. In conclusion, beliefs are, I will reinforce this, the foundation of our identities and a significant part of our interactions with the society. Therefore, neurotheology should be furthered as a field of research, and studies like the Carmelite nun study prove the significant results that can be obtained from this field. The study, through visualization of the state of the brain in these RS experiences, also allow us to understand the impact of religion on the brain and its benefit for our overall well-being. Religion and spirituality can play a significant role in mental health and should be furthered to see the benefits they can have on treatment.